Hello. So today we're going to talk about the most underutilized Revenue Cloud feature, the Advanced Configurator. So right now, if you're still running on the Standard Configurator, also known as Business Rules Engine, and you want to transition to Advanced Configurator, also known as Constraint Rules Engine, then this video covers all of it. I'll also show how we can migrate your BRE rules into CRE rules. And then lastly, we'll go through all of the features in an actual demo environment. So the plan for today is we'll start with Standard Configurator, all of its capabilities. Then we'll transition to Advanced Configurator. And we'll lightly touch on the Constraint Modeling Language, or CML. Then we'll compare both engines. I'll give you a decision framework to use in order to decide which engine is best. But if you're not able to, you can still have both engines exist or run in your environment. I'll also show how you can migrate your BRE rules to CML via Node.js package. And then lastly, we'll demo all of this in an actual working sandbox. So, quick intro, a little about me. So, I'm Kyle Tan. I'm a Salesforce Technical Architect at Stratus Carta. I've been in the ecosystem for 8 years, most recently with a focus on Revenue Cloud architecture. I also speak at industry events on these topics. A little about Stratus Carta. We're a boutique firm led by architects. Our core philosophy is we do not run projects, we help the projects you run better. So if you want to learn more, go into stratuscarta.com. So Standard Configurator, its main use case is if you want to apply sequential if-then rules for product selection, attribute defaults, and option visibility. Of course, before you're able to do this, there's a pre-configuration step, and you have to choose Standard Configurator. But once you have it activated, you would have the option to create configuration rules. On the topmost, you can see the rule scope over here. In here, you can set if the scope is a product, a bundle, or the entire transaction, the code or the order. You can set conditions based on the field, its attributes. You can set an operator and then the value. If the condition is satisfied, you can set actions that would run, such as auto add, exclude, and a lot more actions. And you can then also set a message to inform the user. Ideally, this is applicable for simple product configuration rules with straightforward dependencies, like standard bundles without nested or recursive logic. There are cases where the configuration rule and its capabilities are not enough. That is when you would transition into the Advanced Configurator or Constraint Rules Engine.
Yeah.
CRE is ideal for large-scale complex product logic that exceeds simple if-then rules. On the right side, you would see this is the constraint builder, and right now we're looking at its visual builder. It's a point and click tool. You're able to select the product over here, and you can set different types of rules. And in this example, this is a message rule, and you have the conditions. You can also set actions and messages from here. You have a much more wide selection of options compared to the configuration rule in the previous slide. You would use the Advanced Configurator if you want to have access to the asset of the line item. So it retrieves the customer asset data to validate selection. If you want to enforce soft constraints, such as preference rules, It is available in Advanced Configurator. The authoring interface is different though, as shown. In the following slide, we'll go through the CML editor. You're also able to reference tables in your constraints. It's similar to a custom metadata when you want a certain matrix to drive your constraints. You're able to do that in Advanced Configurator. So for CML, it stands for Constraint Modeling Language. So if you click the drop down, you would have the option to go to a CML editor. It's programmatic, so meaning you can write code. The language is proprietary, so it's different from Apex and LWC. It's driven by three main concepts, so it's types, relations, and attributes. You can enforce the same functionalities and actions that you did in the visual builder in here as well by writing code. We also touch on CML on a separate video, and we go through a deep dive there. So it's better to also check that out for more context. In terms of engine comparison, so now that we know more about Standard Configurator and Advanced Configurator, when they actually use each engine and for which use case. So in terms of authoring, we already know that it has different authoring interface. But for rule logic, you would use Standard Configurator for sequential if-then basic rules. CRE is ideal for logical constraints, like whole configuration solver. And for rule types and capabilities, BRE can exclude, require, auto-add, remove, set attribute, hide, and disable. For CRE, it can do everything that the BRE can do and more. It can do implications, logical equivalence, table constraints, preference rules, and sequential rules. When you want to access assets and you want to enforce soft rules, that is available in CRE, and it's not available in Standard Configurator. As a rule of thumb, BRE is best for standard bundling, simple if-then catalogs, for large catalogs, complex rules, and asset-aware sales. CRE is your go-to option. Now, you just have to ask yourself 3 questions when you want to switch from BRE to CRE. So, number 1, do you have more than 30 active config rules with cross dependencies? 2, do your bundles have nested bidirectional constraints? And then 3, are reps hitting config conflicts requiring manual overrides? If you answer yes to 2 of 3, then our recommendation is to move to Advanced Configurator. But if you're not ready to switch, that's also fine. Both engines can coexist in the same org. You can slowly migrate your business rules into CRE via the transaction processing type. And let me show you how. In terms of engine coexistence, if you've set up your Revenue Cloud properly, you can set the transaction type, Standard Configurator, and Advanced Configurator over here. Once you've set this up, every new quote or order will have this default transaction type. To check, you can just go into the fields of a quote and you would have the transaction type there. It is defaulted to the value that you set. So in this example, every new quote will run using the Advanced Configurator or Constraint Rules Engine. But if you want to still use the Standard Configurator, all you have to do is tweak this value under the quote and it would run with the BRE rules in your environment. For BRE to CML conversion, all you have to do is install two plugins. One, that is the Salesforce plugin data, and the second one is the Salesforce plugin BRE to CML. These are Node.js package. They're essential because they'll transform your BRE into CML code. The first step is we're going to be exporting your BRE rules by running a query, and we're going to transform that into a JSON. We'll use the Node.js library that we installed to convert the configuration rules into CML, and then we're going to import it into the org. By the end of it, it's gonna be a CML code that you first, of course, have to validate before activating. For the demo, we're going to walk through 4 items. First, the standard configurator. Second, the advanced configurator. And a third, we'll see how both of them coexist and how we're able to define the transaction type. And then fourth, we'll migrate our BRE into a constraint rule. So let's go into our Salesforce environment and start with the standard configurator. So if you go to the app launcher and go to product catalog management, you are shown this option. On the left side, you can create product configuration rules. These are your BRE. And on the right side, you have the constraint models, which are your CRE. So for the product configuration rule, I have one existing. This rule enforces that when the user selects the fiber broadband bronze and selects the download speed of 1000 Mbps, it would hide the values of the upload speed attribute, mainly the 400, 600, and 800 Mbps. This is already active in my environment, so when I go into a code, I can browse catalog and I configure the fiber broadband bronze. That rule should take effect. So here you can see that the upload speed values are there. I can set the download speed as 1000 Mbps and our upload speed is now constrained. So that is our BRE. Now let's go to our advanced configurator. Under constraints, I wanted to create a rule that BRE is not able to mimic. And so in here, I created a table constraint. The logic here is that if the download speed is set to 1000, it would enforce that the upload speed should also be 1000, and it would auto add a Wi-Fi extender TP link. This is already active in the org, and so we can test this. So let me go to another code and I'll try to configure our basic internet plan product over here. And notice that the upload speed has the options. There's no products that are automatically selected. But if I click a download speed of 1000, our constraint rule is triggered and the upload speed is selected and my product is auto-added. So this is the advanced configurator. Now third, notice that both engines are running in the same environment, but I've used separate codes. How I'm able to do that is by the transaction type. So this CRE code has the advanced configurator transaction type, and my BRE has the standard configurator. That's why this one has the business rules engine that's running for it. And this is the revenue settings, similar to what I've shown in my slide. You can select the default transaction type. So now we want to migrate the business rules engine and to actually transform that into constraint rules. So let's do that. So I've already set up and installed the Node.js packages that we need to convert the BRE to constraints. So the first step now is to actually export our business rules. So by running this code, it's basically getting our business rules, creating a JSON file, and storing that here in our project. Next, we want to convert the business rules engine configuration rules into CML code. And by using the SFCML convert, we're doing exactly that. So once I've run that, you can notice that I have a CML code over here. The associations from the root product and my child is also here. Next step is we want to deploy this to our environment. So SFCML import, it's deploying our CML code into our org. Now it's successful. Let's verify. I'll go to home. I'll go to my constraint models. I have the CML API over here. And let's go to CML editor. We can see that our business rules engine is now transformed into a constraint. Of course, you still have to verify and test that it works before deploying to production. But say that it's good, you can activate, and this should now take effect and work as an advanced configurator. So that covers our video about the different engines in Revenue Cloud. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment and let us know what other videos you'd like us to do about Revenue Cloud. So thank you all for watching.